Can you keep up with the pace of market regulatory reform? MarketsReformWiki.com, the place to keep up.
What is CFTC Rule 1.73 and what does it address?
It actually codifies some of the things that FCMs most likely do today, but actually now must comply to under the rule. For example, stressing of positions on a regular basis, the pre-trade risk, and one sort of new aspect is the cost of liquidation of a customer. All these things most FCMs currently do, but the rule itself actually places specifics on what they must do.
How do you see executing brokers being affected by this rule?
Executing brokers are now required to, that do give-outs, are required to know risk limits at the individual customer level. My understanding is that in the industry that's not necessarily a practice that's done today, which means that the limits that are placed by the clearing broker need to be somehow communicated to the executing broker, and that broker then needs to actually screen all orders before they're placed into the marketplace.
Another aspect of the rule is evaluating the liquidation of a customer. So what's involved with that aspect?
This is a new aspect of the rule where quarterly FCMs are required to look at their accounts and ascribe a cost to liquidating that account if they needed to do so. Now that's a different kind of stress test than is typically done, as I understand, by most firms. So that's going to involve in looking at each and every position, understanding the liquidity that exists typically in a market, and then being able to figure the slippage and actually trying to get out of that. As far as I know, that's not really done in the industry. So the technology to do that and the algorithms by which to standardize that, as far as I know, don't necessarily exist.
Are there any cases where this rule would be problematic?
Being able to look at an individual customer account that is trading both in a non-automatic fashion, maybe phoning in orders, and in via a platform, putting those two positions together, all those trades together to understand what the current market position is, I think might be kind of problematic. That's certainly some area where I think technology could come to bear to find that.
Rule 1.73 goes into effect on October 1st. Are firms prepared for this?
We feel changes in the industry, I think, pretty early. And for the last few months, certainly since the first of the year, potential customers and customers have been coming to us, talking specifically about post-trade risk, stressing options, aggregating positions. And we weren't sure why that was happening, why they were asking us. And I think it comes down to this rule going in effect in October. That they're looking at this, what the requirements are. I think there's still a lot of clarification on the rule that needs to be made, and so the customers aren't exactly sure what they need at this point. Looking at this, I think most people would agree this is a sea change about the way FCMs look at risk. First of all, it's actually a rule to look at risk this way now, and it's coming down pretty fast, just a few months away.
What's the potential impact of this rule on the marketplace?
It's probably going to be a blending of compliance and risk, whereas they may have been separate, siloed entities before, because you do now have regulations that mandate risk controls. The other thing is that not that risk management I think is slighted by any FCMs, but it also means that they focus on risk management. You have another aspect of risk to risk management, and it's one that is of compliance, as opposed to just what's the risk in this individual account.